The 2025 Martinsville playoff went on far better than anyone expected. The race turned into one of the most intense and emotional nights of the entire NASCAR Cup Series season. William Byron ultimately emerged victorious, but that win came after 500 laps of pure tension and unpredictability. With its 0.526-mile paperclip shape, tight corners, and heavy braking zones, it tested both the drivers' patience and their precision. The 500-lap race was packed with drama from start to finish. There were long green flag runs that tested patience and tire management, followed by sudden cautions that completely reshaped the order. Martinsville, with its tight corners and unforgiving short track layout, demanded precision and endurance. The playoff contenders, including William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Larson, all faced their own unique challenges in this high-pressure race that decided who would advance to the Championship 4 in Phoenix. So in today's episode, let's talk about how the 2025 Martinsville playoff race completely changed the championship picture. Ryan Blaney entered Martinsville knowing that a single mistake could end his title defense. Driving the number 12 Ford for Team Penske, he showed speed early on and climbed steadily throughout the field. His team executed clean pit stops and used smart adjustments to keep him near the front. However, as the race went deeper, tire wear became a serious issue. The car began to lose rear traction, especially in the long runs, but affected his ability to keep pace with William Byron Chevrolet. Blaney managed his tires early in each run, but the car's balance started slipping away as the laps accumulated. That loss of grip became the key difference between first and second. On the long run before the final caution, Byron took advantage of the number 12's weakening rear tires and made a clean pass for the lead. When the race restarted after the late caution, Blaney attempted to regain control by running the higher groove to carry momentum. However, Byron's car had superior drive off the corners, and he powered ahead on the inside line. Despite losing out on the win in the Championship 4 berth, Blaney's race was still impressive. Starting deep in the field and making up that much ground at Martinsville is a sign of both skill and teamwork. The number 12 crew delivered flawless service all night. Blaney's car simply faded faster than Byron's when it mattered the most. His team's overall effort showed consistency, determination, and resilience, but not quite enough performance to match the number 24 in the final 50 laps. William Byron's performance at Martinsville was the definition of control and patience. Driving the number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, he delivered a near-perfect race. His pit crew operated smoothly throughout the event, keeping him in contention even when strategy cycles became complicated. The car's setup proved ideal for both short sprints and long green flag stretches, allowing Byron to preserve his tires better than most of his rivals. When the track cooled later in the evening, Byron's car came alive. The lower groove provided excellent grip for his Chevrolet, while others began to slide up the track. His team had tuned the balance perfectly for the changing conditions, giving him the edge in the most critical stage of the race. He took control of the lead during the long run before the final caution and maintained composure on every restart. The Martinsville win marked Byron's 6th victory of the 2025 season. It also represented the 307th victory in Hendrick Motorsports history, a number that underscored the organization's continued dominance in NASCAR. More importantly, the win secured Byron's place in the Championship 4 for the second consecutive year. Joey Logano started the Martinsville race with a fast number 22 Ford and quickly established himself among the top 5. Early in the race, he was able to keep pace with Byron and Blaney. However, as temperatures dropped and the track conditions evolved, his car's balance began to shift. What had been a well-handling car early in the race became unpredictable, and small setup differences began to show. The critical moment came around the transition from Stage 2 to Stage 3. Logano made a restart lane choice that cost him track position, allowing Blaney to move ahead. Once behind, he struggled to regain lost ground as newer tires from other cars began to dominate. Martinsville's short track is notoriously difficult for passing, and losing even a couple of spots can trap a driver in slower traffic for dozens of laps. That one moment of lost positioning changed the entire outcome for Logano. His race remained competitive, but the rhythm was gone. By the time he recovered, the top two cars had established a gap that he couldn't close. His number 22 Ford ended the race in the top 10, but it wasn't enough to keep his playoff hopes alive. The result was disappointing, especially for a driver with a history of late-season strength. For Christopher Bell and his number 20 Toyota team from Joe Gibbs Racing, Martinsville presented a different kind of challenge. Entering the race in a must-perform situation, Bell needed a top finish to have a realistic chance at advancing to the championship four. Unfortunately, his car lacked the raw pace required to keep up with the leaders.
Just seemed like we were just lacking a little bit of long run pace. Felt like whenever we got the balance close at times, I could take off on tires and do okay, make some passes, maintain my position. And then, the consistent theme of the day was just falling backwards as the tires got old. So simply put, we just weren't strong enough at Martinsville this weekend. We practiced in the teens, we qualified in the teens, and kind of raced back there most of the day. So the 20 team wasn't good enough.
Kyle Larson approached the Martinsville race with one goal: survival without unnecessary risks. The number 5 Chevrolet from Hendrick Motorsports was fast but not dominant. Larson and his team focused on maintaining clean air and staying out of mid-pack chaos. With multiple cautions involving slower cars and tight pack racing, his patience paid off. Larson's car handled well during restarts, and he positioned himself strategically to avoid being caught in the congestion that often leads to contact.
Restarts, I felt, good about my car on restarts, but you just never know how the aggression's going to pick up, and everybody's give a shit factor goes out the window there. But we had good enough track position all day. We were kind of out of the, mess, I guess. And that was good. So my HendrickCars.com Chevy was fast. Our pit crew was on it all night.
Hendrick Motorsports achieved a major milestone by placing both Larson and Byron in the Final Four, proving the depth of their organization. The team's focus on long-term setup balance and adaptive strategy worked perfectly at a track where timing and patience matter more than raw aggression. Martinsville Speedway has always been a test of patience, precision, and composure. At just 0.526 miles, it's the smallest track of the Cup Series, yet one of the toughest. The paperclip-shaped layout demands constant braking and acceleration, wearing down tires and testing every driver's control. The 2025 playoff race once again demonstrated why Martinsville remains one of NASCAR's most iconic and unpredictable circuits. The weather that evening played an important role as well. The track started off warm but gave drivers more grip early in the race, but as the sun went down and the temperatures dropped, the handling of the cars changed dramatically. Some teams that looked strong during the day began to struggle at night. Crew chiefs had to make quick decisions about air pressure and wedge adjustments to keep up with the changing conditions. Teams that reacted faster gained a small edge, while others fell behind without doing much wrong. The event featured multiple lead changes, long green flag stretches, and strategy swings that determined who would continue their championship pursuit. And that's all we have for today's episode. Don't forget to give this video a like and also hit that subscribe button as well. Until then, thanks for watching.